Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. A shorter video today. We're going to look at what's going on the bench here. At the 68 Chevelle that we started, and we'll get into that and just the general get you up to speed kind of thing. But I've got the camera turned around today on me. I usually don't do that because I don't even like to look at myself. I don't know why anybody else would. But I wanted to talk to you guys just a second before we get into this. And let me preface this with I'll tell you a story first. I don't know even know how to get in. I just blurt in, but we'll just get into it. I'll blurt it out here. So the Scale Model Car Podcast on Spotify. It's BG, Lucas C, Chuck, and Jason from Blue Ox. They have a podcast that's centered around model cars and everything related. They had a episode on, and they had talked about building slump, getting into different things, and what you do to get out of the slump. I answered with an email, and in the email, I started with a joke. And I don't have it in front of me, but it went something like, I'll let you guys in on a little secret. For me, just get divorced. Because nothing will change things like a divorce. It's the big reset button. That's a joke. Okay. Okay, so apparently, some of you got it, some of you didn't. Some of you knew right where to message me at. I don't know if you've gotten the Scale Model Car Podcast has gotten any hate mail on me, but in my direct messages, these are people that I know. There's a handful of guys who got it. Hey, I heard you on the podcast. They read your email. Haha. One of them was, hey, divorce isn't funny. You're correct, it's not. I choose to joke about it though because I can. I've been divorced twice, and nothing does hit the great reset like divorce. The next one, the second of those two, was very. How dare you talk about divorce? It is not funny. It's very serious. The bond between a man and a woman, and marriage and divorce. It's all very, very serious, and you should not joke about it. How dare you? And this is a guy that I know, but I know him well enough to know that that's not him talking. It's his wife. Now, whether he said it because of her or she actually wrote me the message, I don't know. But I could close my eyes and just hear her saying those exact words. So the deal is, the idea is, what I'm trying to get at is, we have these channels. We do videos, we do live streams, we do podcasts, and we're building cars. And for the most part, we stay on model cars. And religions and politics sometimes creeps in, but we're all individuals, and we have individual thoughts, and our sense of humor is all different. And my sense of humor, I joked about divorce in that email. So the deal is, while we're doing videos and live streams and podcasts, there's going to be something that you may not like to hear. But there's a good thing about all this. There's buttons that you can push, that you can stop watching. You can go somewhere else. You can turn it off. You can watch something else. You can turn the volume down. You can turn the volume up. You can, it's the greatest thing ever. I find myself watching stuff that I really don't agree with. You know what I do? Boop, turn it off. And then all the madness stops. Just like that. So, in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is, I made a joke. Um, if you're waiting for an apology, I would say it's cold outside, but not cold enough for hell to freeze over. So, uh, that's it. That's it, guys. When you're watching a live stream, when you're watching my video, when you're watching a podcast, when you're watching anything, and you don't particularly agree with it, you don't have to. You can go elsewhere. It's America. We're still free for the minute, anyway. So, on to the video. All right, guys. After that bullshit rant, let's get into the car here. The Chevelle, we're doing box stock. Like I said before in the last video, I don't do a lot of model car shows, but I do believe a model car show or contest is good to light a fire under your ass and get you to want to do the best work that you can. And a box stock class has always intrigued me, and that's because I really think it's the harder of one. Well, it's the harder class to do. You're limited by what's in that box, and this Chevelle, I can agree with the parts that come with it, in that we don't have tires that don't belong. We don't have parts that are wrong. Everything's pretty correct for a '68 Chevelle. Uh, so we started to build this car, and I'm doing it again. A little change for me is to build it as the directions say. So in the order in which the directions say, it shows the engine being built first and then being laid into the chassis, the steering box here and the shaft, and then the transmission cross member go in, and then it goes into, I believe, the interior tub after that being built. So in this case, what I did was I put the engine halves together and used them to align the transmission cross member, because that cross member does move just a shade. I glued the cross member in while the halves of the motor were on it, so that it is in the same place that transmission, where the pin meets the cross member, is going to be exactly where it needs to be. The engine I've painted all separate. The cylinder heads were painted separate from the oil pan, from the block, from the intake manifold, from the water pump, just so there is no unpainted parts. The distributor and the coil are dry fitted in there. Before I paint, I want to make sure everything fits. Same thing with that upper radiator hose. We've painted that the orange on the end for the water outlet. We've fit that motor into the chassis. The chassis I painted down inside the frame rails on top here first before I painted it, so that I get a nice uniform look of paint everywhere. The steering box is a raw finish with a black steering shaft. We'll most likely use our panel liner just to get some shadow around the edges of the intake and the cylinder heads. This is not going to be like an original car, but a restored look. So I don't want the thing to look dirty and used. I just want to drop shadow in there, give it depth. What else here? Oh, chassis paint. Let me dig this out here. I believe. Oh, I don't know where I put it. It is. I hate to do this, guys, and tell you the wrong thing. Tamiya. It is a Tamiya color. Oh, hold on a second. Gotta reach back behind me. Okay. So, in getting the finishes right, the finishes is what we want to watch. Doing a box stock build, I believe getting the fit right, so fitting all the parts first, and making sure that everything fits together right, and our cross member, things like that. The next thing after the fit would be finish, and that is getting stuff to look as good as it can. So for a car that's a restored look, I want the factory finish. And besides going and just using chassis black and spending a lot of money for finish and then having 10 tons of it around that I don't need, the simple and easy thing is Tamiya paint. Semi-gloss black TS29. That is the perfect sheen of black for a chassis that I've found anyway. So TS29, semi-gloss black. We have the let me reach over here. Excuse me, guys. Exhaust manifolds are done in a flat steel, and it still has a bit of a gloss to it. So we're going to hit those with a dull coat. The I like your distributor cap and coil. The coil is a metal-bodied piece. The cap is plastic. You'll want to use a couple different shades of black there to make sure that they look right. A rubber black, a Tamiya paint for the upper radiator hose, lower radiator hose. Just getting your finishes right. Paying attention to that detail. The oil filter, every part of this thing is its own little project. The oil filter, getting it to look right, using the decal that came with the little Delco oil filter decal comes with the car. Bell housing paint, we're going to dry brush this in the back to make it look like the orange was oversprayed. The bell housing was painted on the engine, so we're going to need to do that so it looks like it fades into the bell housing. Fit and finish, guys. Okay, this one I've been doing off camera. 65 El Camino. This was that construction rig deal, yellow plastic, not liking colored plastic, but I guess it's better than red plastic. So yeah, 65 El Camino. This one's been around for a couple years now. That I built the engine, then did the chassis. So I just put this in primer the other night. Got a dark maroon color, and we'll do a dark maroon interior to boot. But what actually got this thing back up on the shelf and me working on it was I found the perfect set of wheels for it. With a nice resin set of Torque Thrust D mag wheels for it that are going to look fantastic on this car. So that one's over here in the mix. But like I said, that's off camera. I'll show you. We won't follow it through, but I'll show it to you when it's finished. It's just I like a 65 Chevelle El Camino wagon, whatever. So we're doing that one. Nothing to report on the street machine over there, that Camaro. That poor thing's been sitting here, as has the Nova. Just a constant reminder that I need to get my ass moving. All right, last but not least today, I wanted to look at the Camaro, the project we call charcuterie. This car, we're not gonna see. I've got these parts, and I want to jump right in and start working on it. Haste makes waste. I need to slow down. One, because we're halfway through January, and February I do the small scale group build. So I'm trying to pace myself on other projects, because in February all this other stuff is going to stop, and I'm going to pay attention to the small scale group build. But what I wanted to show you on charcuterie here is we're collecting parts. I have been collecting parts, but I had this wide body kit. You see the hood that's on there now. That is Texas 3D Customs. That is their print. It's black box that does the design, and Texas 3D Customs that did the actual print. Very, very good print. Parts fitting right out of the box. The finish on the parts, very, very good out of the box. Right next to it, I won't say where the print came from, but you can already see the lines in that and the work that you would have to do to smooth that hood out. And that's the bigger part. Even the littler parts on this one have that scale to them where you can see where the print, and I don't know how the ins and outs of 3D printing. Um, the I don't even know the wordage for it. Geez, I've heard it before, but I can't even begin to tell you right now. Anyway, everything that this printer sent looks like this, and there are holes in the wheels. It's just not good, guys. So I'd said before, spend the money, go with a 3D printer that you know and you trust. 3D Texas 3D Customs. Uh, I have purchased a lot of things from them and have zero complaints. I'm very picky. Iceman Collections, the same thing. Very, very picky. I have zero complaints. You got to go with the better printer. Get the good parts. Get it right the first time, and you don't chase your tail or have to smooth out things that look like that. That's about it for today, guys. Rant over. You see what's on the bench here. I want to get some more done on the 68 Chevelle before the month of February hits. I also would like to have that El Camino painted because when the small scale group build hits, that'll be all hands on deck for that. Even though it seems like it shouldn't be hard to do a car in 28 days or 29, whatever we have this time around in the month of February. When you consider how I work, what I feel like when I get home from work, 28, 29 days isn't a lot to do a model, especially with what I'd like to do to this one. And we'll look at that coming up here shortly. Thanks, guys, for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.